Dive into the heart of Cleveland's business community with the Cleveland Burning Podcast. Join me, Kim Kitchen, owner of Burning River Marketing, and Kirk Tietz, owner of Cleveland Custom Coatings, as we explore the untold stories of local business owners. In this engaging series, we focus on the setbacks, accidents, and unexpected turns that pave the way for ultimate success. So just like the Cuyahoga River ignited change in the city, our podcast showcases how adversity can spark innovation and growth. Hear from passionate entrepreneurs who have braved the flames of failure and emerged stronger and more resilient. Get ready for candid conversations and a behind-the-scenes look at the business landscape in Cleveland. What's up, Kirk?
You're not going to believe this. I got pulled over.
No way.
I did. My plate, it expired for 4 months. They're commercial plates. I forgot because it didn't expire on my birthday. And I was on my way to work. I actually noticed it the day before, and I said to Nick, I said, my plates are expired for 4 months now. So I've been driving all over the cities. I've been in every city. I said, but I'm not going to do anything about it right away. I'll just wait. If I get pulled over, I'll deal with it. Literally the next morning.
You got pulled over.
I got pulled over.
And then you had to
The
deal
cop
with it.
comes up to me right away. He's like, when I turned my lights on, why didn't you pull over right away? I said, well, I'm going to be honest with you, sir. My ex left me for a police officer. I thought you were trying to return her.
Oh,
Didn't want to stop.
funny. Yeah.
Anyway, so they go back and they write their ticket. He comes back. He's going to write me a ticket for the expired tag. And I said, I'm disappointed. I said, when you went back there, I was trying to remember the last time I even got a traffic ticket. I honestly can't even remember. He's like, I can tell you, the last time you were ticketed was in 1998.
Wow.
It's been 26 years since I have received a traffic ticket.
Are you serious?
So I said, that's crazy. I said, that's a long time. And he said, yeah, I was born in 99. I said, so I got tickets older than you.
That's not.
That's a true story.
That's a good story. I'm glad it all worked out. Well, welcome to the Cleveland Burning Podcast, where we dive into stories of local professionals who've braved the flames of adversity and emerged stronger than ever. I'm your host, Kim Kitchen.
And I'm Kirk Tietz. Today we're interviewing Bill Glick with Bill Glick Painting. I'm going to go ahead and introduce Bill.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I know I always try to push it off on you, but I actually know Bill. We have a lot of mutual friends. We went to school at the same in Lakewood. And I think I interviewed with him a few years back, and
They didn't hire you?
We couldn't afford them.
Oh.
It was a great meeting him and everything. So we kind of linked up through LinkedIn and Facebook, and kind of promote each other's businesses and like each other's posts and stuff. And then we decided, let's just get together and sit down and talk. So since then, he's like some of the other painters you've seen come through here. Is a friend. Whether we compete in some of the same areas or not, that's fine. A rising tide rises all the boats, right? They all, and so we find mutual benefit in us sitting down talking about work, things, business, marketing, stuff I don't think either of us ever thought we would be talking about.
Not at all. Not at all.
But Bill grew this company pretty quick. He's done a real good job, given his name's out there, a real good name, real good reputation, and I enjoy having the conversations with you, Bill. I'm going to be honest. So, I'd like to hear more about your company and where you've come to and what you're doing. So
Yeah, Bill, you do residential, commercial? Tell us about Bill Glick Painting.
Well, first off, I'd like to say thanks for having me.
Well,
it's an
thanks for
honor.
being here.
One quick story I have for you, Mr. Tietz. The day before Thanksgiving, I'm going to Elyria. Like you said, you want to check out the project, see what's going on, blah, blah, blah. So I turn on to Cleveland Street, which is actually Center Ridge Road, where we're on.
Yep.
And I'm going maybe 100 yards. I look in my rearview mirror, there's 50 cops flashing lights. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So I pull over, and a white SUV screams by. That one didn't have the flashing lights. There was a high-speed chase, just flew right past me.
You.
So that was a little alarming. I'm like,
your heart
I just turned on to Center Ridge. Would I not put my light on? I mean, my turn signal. I'm
right.
Next thing you know, you're OJ and a
Get out of the car! Get out of the car! No, so
Bill Glick Painting. Tell me about it.
So yeah, I was at a crossroads of my life around May 2013. I had some time to kill. I thought I'm going to give it a month just to relax, blah, blah, blah. Well, it turned into a week, and I found somebody on Craigslist who we both know, who Tom Johnson, okay, and I started painting for him. I painted a little bit in the high school and college, you know, apartments,
Sure.
houses, whatever.
Yeah.
But I started working for him, and I worked for him for about 8 months. I had back surgery. I'm like, I'm going to try this on my own. I bought a $400 van, and next, you know, here we are. And
Okay.
it's been a hell of a journey. It's unbelievable.
That's
I
so
take
cool.
a look back, and I'm like, how did this happen?
So that from 2013 when you answered an ad on Craigslist to now it's just been over 10 years. And so
Yes.
so how big have you grown it? Like I don't know really how we've had a lot of painters on the podcast and I don't really know how to ask like how big is your company, but is it like crew
Their yearly
size or
revenue.
We're probably going to do $2 million this year.
That's
Wow.
fantastic.
That's
This year
great.
in 2024.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And is it all
And it's-
commercial?
No,
and
it's-
residential?
okay, here's how it all started. I was living in West Park. Okay, when I started my company
Mm-hmm.
per se, I was doing jobs all over the place, subbing, you know, doing anything
Right.
funny for money or strange for
Okay.
change. You
Okay,
know,
I like that
hey,
phrase.
he wants to paint your roof, we'll do that. We'll do whatever. So I met this girl in Brunswick. I kind of started my company there. I bought a place. Brunswick stuck, she didn't. and we became a big fish in a little pond. And in doing so, the community of Brunswick gave me the vehicle to be able to do the things we're doing today,
Okay.
in essence.
That's
And
it.
it's
That
like the
community
snowball
was really
effect.
growing at that time too, right?
Yeah, and you
Was
know
there
what? And
a lot of-
we give back to the community huge. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we're to the point where we're fortunate enough to just at Christmas time just give back.
I saw that on
Yeah,
your
it's
Facebook
the- it's the
page.
best
You were
damn day of
giving
my
some- That was
life.
so
It is.
cool. It
It's
looked like you were
awesome.
having a fun time.
Well, like you know, when we grew up, we were really poor. It doesn't really matter, but it's just a way to give back that was given to us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a cool day. It's the best day of my life, honestly,
That
or
is-
of the year, I should say.
I was
Yeah.
poor too growing up. I tell her all the time that me and my brothers used to go to KFC so we could lick other people's fingers.
Doritos at the park. Hey, you're gonna lick those fingers? Can I get some?
God.
We throw away all the napkins, you know, so they couldn't wipe their hands.
Okay. Well, you know the theme. I know Kirk did prepare you briefly. We got together and started doing this podcast because we wanted to actually interview business owners in the area. But we heard all kinds of podcasts where people were just kind of like interviewing, saying, how great are you? Let's talk about how awesome you are. And we realized that, no one ever talks about like their failures. And that's really, you don't get to success without it being in the wake of usually a lot of failures or train wrecks or adversity in the least. So we decided we would start interviewing business owners and asking them like, tell us a story. Like, what's the worst thing that's happened? Like, you just didn't know if you were going to keep painting, or whatever comes to mind with you. So, can you share something?
Oh, absolutely. The first 3 years of my business was that every day. Should I quit this and just go sell windows? You know,
A good gig
I mean,
too.
I mean, do I want to keep doing this? I mean, really? And
It's like a roller coaster.
yeah, oh, a huge roller coaster until you finally get over those humps, those little humps. You look back at those little humps and you're like, that was nothing.
Right,
You know, absolutely nothing. Thank God I didn't throw the towel in then.
right.
You know, I'd be slinging windows.
They say a lot of people that fail, they didn't fail, they just quit.
Yeah.
But they didn't know how close to success they actually were when they
Exactly.
did that.
Right, right. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Once COVID came, okay, my top two guys, which I later found out were cancer, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay, it was like a hidden cancer, I guess you would call it. Everybody was the government's giving away money, so they took off, and they were going to come. It just, long story short, it took that much, and I didn't have an office manager as I do now.
Okay.
It took that much for me to see that it was just complete cancer, and then I hired somebody that could take on the role, and just after that it just flourished. And then Kirk, you get phone calls all the time. Hey, I'm looking for work. All the time now, and it's like people can't find people. I wish I could find enough work for all the guys that call.
Amen.
It's the attraction, you know.
Amen.
You get to a certain point, and people are like, "He's not going to screw you. He's going to pay
Right.
you every Friday, no
Every
matter what
Friday.
he does.
Wake up,
Right.
the
It
money's
Doesn't
already in my
matter.
account.
Yes, exactly. And he's a fair guy.
So-
It's simple.
So when you have a good reputation, it's actually people are calling you looking for work.
Yes,
So now
exactly.
now
Yeah.
you just want more work,
Yeah, people
so that
are
you
like,
can
I
hire
can't
all
find
these great people.
guys to work. I can't find guys to work.
I don't seem to have an issue. I even had a guy who left us because he just took some travel work, And this was 6 months ago or something. And very disappointed. Great guy, great worker. Really loved having him with us. And you know, but if you decide that something else is better for you in your life or whatever, I commend that. You know, so left on good terms. And he just called me 2 days ago. Walked right in the office, said, "I'm done with all the traveling every week, and I really loved working with you guys. You guys were always honest and fair to me, and you know I want to come back." And I was like, glad to have you back. So
Left on good
same
terms,
thing, you know,
never
right?
burn a bridge. It's
Same
the same
thing, right?
Yeah, never burn a bridge, you know?
100%.
I mean, we get our bridges burned all the time.
Yeah,
In
that's
essence,
true.
we're the nice guys in here, but
That's true.
that's neither here
So
nor
what do you
there.
mean? You mean you're maybe you have people that take advantage of you? Is that like how they burn bridges, or people that don't pay
Well,
you?
no, just no call. No, I'm talking about
No
in
call,
the
no shows?
employees. Yeah, no
Got
call,
it.
no shows, or
Yep.
or just don't. Just,
I think some of the market changed. So like before COVID, right? My experience is that you'd put out an ad for workers, they would call, I would give them an interview, they would show up, I'd give them all the paperwork to fill out to get on payroll and everything. They'd fill it all out.
This
They'd
sounds like a
email
normal
it in.
process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
Yep.
call them back. Hey man, so
You got
great.
the job.
Yeah.
They
You
would
got the
show
job.
up.
Here's where I need you to be tomorrow morning.
yeah,
That's the last time you heard from
exactly. It's
Right.
like, why would you waste all of that time of yours and mine?
them. You know,
Just to say,
just
honey, look, I'm doing this. Look, I'm doing, like, to appease your girlfriend.
Right.
So
I
I
don't
questioned
know.
this forever, and then I was told by somebody it's for unemployment because they have to look for so
Oh,
many jobs.
okay.
So they have to have some repertoire to say, I tried to get a job at this
Okay.
company.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I guess they don't look into it enough to see, you know, if they were given the position or not. But
Sure.
they just have the record that they called you
Okay.
and try to get a job. So that was like the big thing prior to COVID. And then like when COVID hit, there was probably a couple years where you could put an ad out, nobody called, right? There's no phone calls.
Right.
There's nobody wanted to work because the government was
right.
giving money.
Sure.
And they're getting almost more money just sitting at home than
Sure.
they would be if they come
Exactly
to work.
right. Yeah.
Yep.
Because they opened up unemployment for everybody. You didn't have to apply for jobs. So the phone
Right.
calls stopped coming.
Mm-hmm.
And now it seems like you're saying, like, if you have a good reputation, these people are looking for work now because all those benefits are over.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
going back to the people that treated them well.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, I agree with what you're saying. You do kind of feel like they kind of burnt my bridge.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
they kind of did me wrong. But if they're good workers and they're good painters and good for your company, you have to weigh which one's more important to you.
Right.
See, what I've noticed now is my guys self-police. You know,
Yeah.
you get your solid core of guys.
Yes.
And hey, he drinks on the job. We kick. My guys have full reign. I don't care if you're the low guy or the top guy, to come to me and say, hey, or if you don't
Right.
want, if these guys all in a row get along great, okay, and you get one guy off on right field, he might be a great painter, but if he doesn't mesh with your
Your crew, yeah. The
that crew,
dynamic.
maybe you can put him on another one and. You know, you're kind of shifting,
I've
and,
done
and,
this.
and sometimes if it
Yep.
doesn't work out, it doesn't work
I've
out.
even called Unipro Painting, friends with Steve from over there, and
Mm-hmm.
hey, I got this guy. He's a fantastic painter. Skills are par. I mean, they're great. Just doesn't get along with the guys on my crew.
Yeah.
Right? It just is not a good fit for the
Mm-hmm.
guys that I have, and the guys I have are good as well. And maybe he could work better for you. And he's been there. Steve thanked me more than once. Hey, thanks for sending him. I'm like, that's great. I'm glad he's a match over there. It's just not a match over here.
Right.
Would I love his skills? Sure.
Right.
But if I have 10
Not at
good
the
people and
detriment. Yeah.
Yeah,
9
yeah.
of them don't like him,
Exactly.
it creates.
Throw one back spoke in the wheel and it's all bad news.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah, I get it.
Now, your two guys that left that you said you found out, like in retrospect, that they were kind of cancerous. Like, how would you be able to identify that, and how did you find out that they were kind of part of the problem?
Because all the other guys told me after the fact.
Yeah.
It's like this, you know, I date a girl and we break up. And oh my God, all my buddies, I never
yeah.
liked her anyways. I never liked that. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, well,
Right.
thanks for letting me know now. You
Yeah.
know,
That does
You know what he
I love
used to do?
Yeah, exactly.
right. I
So,
couldn't
how do you
stand
even
her.
weed that out, like ahead of time? I mean, how can you tell? Were there any signs that those guys were like maybe?
Yeah, because they work 6 hours and want to get paid for 8. Like,
Oh,
you know,
that's
it
not
was
a
just,
good
it was,
sign.
yeah, it was, and I'm, okay, see what happened is as I'm trying to grow my business, they were so used to having daddy there with them on the job site, working alongside them. So when it comes time to put on another hat, where's Bill? Where's Bill? Where's Bill? Well, Bill's trying to find you your next meal,
Right.
you know, honestly.
Yeah.
And they
didn't
kind of
step
got
up.
envious of that.
Okay.
Or not envious, but
I'm making you all this money. You're not even here.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
right.
I know.
Yeah, yeah.
When I hear, because this happens in the industry a lot, and when I hear that, I always tell people that's like the guy working at Ford wondering why Henry's not there handing him the bolts, right?
Right. Yeah. Where's Ronald
Oh my
McDonald giving
gosh.
you your Big Mac, you know?
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
No, it's true. Yeah.
Because he's got other things to do.
Well, so
Exactly.
how do you handle that? I mean, like if someone's listening to the podcast and they're like, okay, I keep hearing this issue. You know, it's your crew and sometimes there's a cancer and you get rid of them. Like how do you handle that? Like how do you get rid of that envy? Is it just communication with your top guys that like, look,
No,
I'm not going to be here because I
see
got to
what
go get the
happened.
next job.
What happened not after that is I worked in the field a little bit, and then I started to. I told myself I'm not going to bust. You know, I'm getting older now.
Right.
And I'm not going to be out in the field when I'm 60, 65, 55 years old. There's no
Right.
way.
That's why you already worked hard.
So my guys understand that, and they don't want me on the job sites.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I go and set up, and they know they don't want. They hear my phone ringing. They want nothing to do with it.
Yep.
You know, they respect that, and I 100% respect them, even down to my taper, my cleaning up, whatever. Because you know what, they all work in unison, and they all go out, and on the weekends, it's nice.
Yeah.
They're like a big family. It's good. You know?
We interviewed the owner of Grey House Pies, and he said the same thing. He said it was really hard for him to like get out of his business, but he found out that
Very
he
hard.
had to be out of his
yes.
business.
It's very
'cause
difficult.
They didn't
It
want
is.
him around either.
It's like taking your baby to daycare. It's just
Yeah.
tough. It's just tough.
It's like, but at the same time, I've realized the more you give it away to people that can handle the
The more they
responsibilities.
step up.
I mean, if it wasn't for my office manager, my
Right.
number one,
Mm-hmm.
all the way down,
right,
all the way down to whoever,
right.
it would never flourish. There's no way.
I repeatedly tell my guys, especially Nick, who does a ton for me. I couldn't do it without you.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it without the guys that are here doing it. I could sell $10 million worth of
but
work,
who's
but
gonna-
who's going to do the work? Who's
Exactly.
going to handle the things? You can't be there. You can't be at every job and every bid and
Right.
or you're minimized to how much. And then what ends up happening, you end up in a really bad cycle of you're real busy because when you're not busy, you're selling work, you're lowering your price, you're pushing to get work. Then you stop bidding because you have to go do all this work that you landed. Then you don't have work, right? Because you've done all the work, but you didn't take the time
You've
bidding.
exhausted it, but you
So
haven't.
you have to have positions where people do that. And somebody's selling all the time. Somebody's marketing all the time. Somebody's handling the paperwork. Somebody's handling the job sites, making sure the crews have the equipment they need, right? These are all positions you need to fill. That's all overhead,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
right?
absolutely,
And if you don't have the right people doing this,
Right.
you're destined for a long
Sure.
hard road.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys put like things in place to make sure they're doing it? I mean, like, are there not a performance review, but you obviously can't be in the office the whole time. So are there times that you come back and see, like, make sure people's doing everything
On the
that
back
they-
office
Yeah.
end? You know what? My
Like, how do you make
office
sure-
manager, she's like my mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly,
you just get lucky
and
with
you
good
know what?
people.
I got 100% lucky.
Yeah.
It was ironic. She was one of my first customers when I was on carbon paper. You know my.
Oh
estimate.
yeah, carbon paper.
And she was probably one of my first 10 jobs I ever did, and I turned her on to another friend of mine. He's a handyman.
Yeah.
And we were sitting at this networking meeting I belonged to, and I said, I need an office manager. And he came up and said, hey, remember Heidi, blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah, she's looking for a job. And that was about 3 years ago.
Okay.
And it's you know what? No, we go over and review things all the time.
Yep.
It's
So there's
just-
that trust there.
Oh,
So it's
yeah.
you don't have to
As far
worry.
as the workers in the field with me, it's a mathematical thing.
Mm.
My bid job, my bids aren't a guess. It's a count.
Right.
There's a price per square foot. There's a price per door frame,
Mm-hmm.
windows. This is all very set. This is what I charge. Now, I can look at the job, the numbers on the job. So same here, Colleen does a bunch of my, job costing or whatever. Now I can just look at that and say that job did well. Now let's say you have one that doesn't do well, right? Then I can evaluate like what went wrong. Was my bid? Did I miss something on my bid? Did we do extra work that we didn't get paid for? If maybe I don't find anything, then maybe it's the few guys that work there. So let me reevaluate that. Now we'll go to another job. I'll maybe separate them, and and you start to identify. Like every time I give a job and this guy's showing up, it's not going well. Or these two guys don't work well together, the jobs don't come out well, right?
It's
And
an-
so there's
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
kind of backwards thinking when you're looking at the numbers, and it'll tell you what you need. The numbers never lie, I always say, right? They're going to tell you if you're doing well or if you're not, and that will follow a pattern. I could identify that as well. Every time I do an exterior residential, I don't do well. Right, then I probably
Right.
realize that it's not the workers.
Yep.
It's your
It's something in
numbers.
my
It's your
numbers that's
numbers,
not
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not working
Yep.
out for me.
You're not charging
Right.
enough, or
Or
there's
your,
some
your
yeah.
gallon counts off.
I compare it to
yeah.
baseball. You know, in baseball, they have every statistic in the world. Like
Yep.
this is the past 7 o'clock on this side of the Mississippi, right? And you're like, why are they doing that? Well, there's a reason, and the reason is because you then can identify problems, and it's the same thing. So like one baseball game probably tell you who won or lost. 160 baseball games couldn't tell you what place I'm in,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
If you're not keeping track. And so that's how I compare it. And I think that's how I personally look for the performances through the numbers.
Right.
I'm not the kind of guy that's going to show up and be there with binoculars watching my guys.
Right.
I
Exactly.
trust that they're going to show up. They're going to put in an honest day's work. I'm not the kind of guy that nickel and dime 15 minutes. You know, you finish, you wrapped up, you did a good job today. I'm just going to pay you for your 8, right?
course.
Right.
But then there's other people that take advantage of that, and they realize that, and they start showing up late and leaving early and taking a long lunch.
And still getting paid
And
for their 8.
And it reflects in the numbers.
Yeah.
It reflects in the numbers.
Well,
And then I'll try to talk to that person. Hey, what's going on? You know, is there something we could help you with? Because I feel the door needs to be open for them to walk in the door. I know Bill does the same thing. You know, that if one of my workers is having an issue, the door's open. My phone, you know my number. Call me. If
Yep.
there's something we can do as a company or as a friend
Yep.
that I can do to help you, I will. But we have to identify those problems. I think regularly you have to pay attention.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah. Absolutely. You know what I like to do is, you know, you show up to the job, or you show your number one guy at your house with the video. Here's the job. Blah blah blah. Here's what it entails. How many days do you think it'll take? How many guys do you need? Okay, I'll tell you what. And you're running the numbers in your head real quick. I'll tell you what. You guys get it done in that amount of time. I could do this for you.
Right.
You know,
I
and
could
give
throw
them
you a
some
little
incentive.
something. Yeah.
And give them
Throw
some
you a little
incentive.
something. Now,
Yeah, yeah. Now
not
it
some
has to
progressive
be-
bonus over time.
No, right then.
Right
and there.
now,
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
I do the same thing.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
cool.
Leave it up to them.
It makes sense.
Leave it up to them to figure out. Okay, well, I'm gonna have this guy here, this guy, and
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I like to train the guys. The guys are starting to become more upper echelon.
Right.
Is put them in a position. You know, give them a house, give them a house to paint, and give them a 2-bedroom condo.
Right.
Here, you're in charge. You got these 2 guys working for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how is this gonna work? Tell me exactly what you're gonna do, and how long it's gonna take. And if it comes out that way, great.
We do these
know?
salon lofts. If you're a good painter, you should be able to do them in 5, maybe 6 hours. I tell everybody, I'm just going to pay you the 8,
Yeah, right, exactly.
but just make sure I don't get a phone call saying that it's not done
Yep.
or that you
Right.
left
So there's some
something.
incentives.
Just finish it. You get paid the
Walk
extra
away.
3 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not here. I bid it to be 8 hours.
Exactly.
You have 8 hours. I'll pay you the 8 hours.
If it takes you 6 and you
But if
just
they call
yeah,
me,
you got a bonus.
You know,
then you're going back.
then you're
Right.
going back and
You're
you're
going
fixing
back.
it.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah,
So
but then
that
they'll
eliminates
do
the
shorter
people that-
lunch breaks, shorter smoke breaks.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause
Let's
they
get
know-
this done.
Yeah.
Let's get this
Yeah.
done in 6 hours,
And
we're
then they
good
get to go home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
I like that. I like that a
Yeah,
lot.
and little incentives here and there, especially when you already bid it in your mindset. 3 guys, 8 days. You know,
Right.
24 hours.
Right.
Whatever it is, and they exceed it. And you're like, great. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it helps your bottom end, and
Incentivize them a little bit.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started painting years ago and I was painting, like I just hire guys and paint houses, I used to get a bunch of younger kids, you know, and they probably weren't painters, right? And I would always tell them, like, you paint this side of the house and I'll paint this side of the house. If you beat me by lunchtime, I'll buy you guys all lunch. Now, I'd buy them lunch anyways,
Yeah,
but
yeah, right.
again, because you know they're
Right.
painting a lot more
Right.
Right, yeah,
because they're trying to beat me.
Exactly.
You know, so it's the same thing. It's just a little incentive, but I bought them lunch
That-
anyway.
Yeah.
That's good. I mean, it makes it fun. I personally could never be a painter. I mean, the things I've even tried to paint, like I mean, I get bored. Then I overthink it, and then I'm like, it's just not. I am not a painter, and so I feel like if someone's painting all day for their life, like you got to make it fun occasionally. You got to give them
Yeah.
some incentive, you know,
Yeah,
like
And you know what's cool is like when I go on a job site, I just walk on, hey, how you doing, blah, 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 and these guys just keep on chatting, just
Yeah.
not just good talk, not
Right.
like not just busting balls or whatever, but and not cussing like sailors.
Sure.
They're just having genuine conversations.
Yeah.
It's
Enjoying their job,
yeah,
enjoying
and
each other,
and
just getting it
talking.
done.
Yep, yeah.
Yeah, I
Listen
like
to the radio
that.
and just talking. It's nice.
That's a nice vibe. I mean, I could
It's
see.
a great vibe.
You
Is
know,
what I'm getting at. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I could see it being really relaxing.
Yeah.
You know, we have a painter in our BNI chapter, and he loves what he does. He's employed both of my daughters. So both of my girls, when they first, when they were a little too young to work at like a Chick-fil-A or something, they both worked for him, and he worked well with them. He was always like, they always had fun. They made good money. But I just know I'm not a painter. I would like to hire it out for sure.
I think a lot of people are shocked as a painter that there's really good money that a painter can make. If
Yeah.
you're skilled, you show up. I always try to tell people I don't really pay for their time. They think I do, but I really pay for their skill. Right? If you want more money, just have more skill.
Right.
If you can drive a lift, spray, brush, run a crew, right? If you have all these skills, then the time, what you bring to me in your time is more value. I want to pay for that.
Right.
Right. So, and that's what I think a lot of people don't understand. There's really good money for even a person
sure.
out in the field working. There's good money to be
There's
made.
very good money.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
there's no one bothering you. You get together with like a right crew of guys that
Right.
or girls or whoever. And,
Yeah, but that's like on the residential end or a small commercial end. You get on some of these larger job sites,
Yeah,
and
what's
it's
that like?
complete mayhem. We have a
Yeah.
job going on downtown
chaos.
Cleveland, and it's a new build, a new apartment building, and you've got every trade.
Every trade.
And my main, he does 2 hours of paperwork a day,
Oh,
day
geez.
as a painter. So it's not like
Who's
I'm
doing
going to
2
show you.
hours
You
of
want to see the
paperwork?
good and the bad and the
Yeah,
ugly.
yeah.
I don't even want to go to that job site. It's a nightmare. You have to, what's that thing called? A swing stage? They
Yeah,
go
the
up.
swing stage.
You have to wait down there 30, 45 minutes, and it gets cold down there when the
Right.
wind starts whipping
Right.
around. And it's just,
Yeah,
in
even the
every
construction
trade.
elevators are a bit sketchy.
Oh, yeah, they shake and move.
Yeah,
It's,
they
but
sway
they-
Doesn't sound
around.
as fun.
but I mean, just a park, it's a full-blown construction site,
Right.
and it's a nightmare.
yeah.
You got guys. Well, it's just a bunch of ants in a building running around. It's amazing, but
That's
it's
nuts.
but yeah,
I always say for those jobs, it's toolboxes and assholes, right?
yeah,
It's like that's what it is, like literally back to back. You got the tile guys practically laying
Oh,
tile
yeah.
under your feet.
Yeah.
You got ceiling tile
LVT,
guys
this-
putting in the ceiling tiles.
Oh, yeah.
You're trying to paint the walls, and
That
it
sounds
gets
like a
crazy.
nightmare.
it gets a
It's
bit
pretty-
hectic,
but this one's well orchestrated,
and that matters.
Huge, and my number one has it nailed to a science, down to the gallon on per floor, down to the man hour per floor.
That's perfect.
Working with the company we're working with, it's well organized.
How to document, how to build, like there's
but,
a whole process.
But then also on the procedure, how's everything working out? We're gonna go prime this floor, then come back and do the. These guys are doing. It's well orchestrated.
Right.
In terms of back
That's
office
important.
is killer,
Right.
but the construction site it's chaotic,
Yeah.
but it's pretty well orchestrated.
We've definitely done projects where I've walked away from the project thinking, boy, am I glad I don't have to stay here and paint all day.
Yeah. I imagine that can slow you down when you're working with so many other people, other tradespeople.
But you know what? When we took this job on, it took probably 75% of my guys.
Wow.
Okay,
That's a
so
big job.
that's a
That's
but
huge.
but in this was in October, November. So I had to build more teams.
Yeah.
To do all the other work that we're doing. Mm-hmm. I've got these guys gone till fall. It's like, shoot,
Jeez.
what do you do? It's like
This is a huge job.
I mean,
what kind of job is this?
it's a new apartment building going up downtown.
Okay.
City Club luxury apartments.
All right.
How many floors?
I think there's 500 and some units.
And that's almost a
27
year of work.
floors.
So there was supposed to be
Yeah.
28, but that's another story. Oh, forget it. Never mind.
That's almost a full year of work. I mean, you guys
Yeah.
started in October. And
Yeah,
you'll
it's gonna be a
into
full
the-
year after it's all said and done.
That's crazy.
It's
a
nice
big job.
because it's running smooth,
Right.
and that's awesome. It's beautiful. I let my number one run that baby,
Mm-hmm.
and then I've just been focusing on business development and bringing more guys aboard.
Yeah, that's
And
nice.
it's working out pretty well so far.
That's a good spot to be in. Because I know, this is sort of a slow time of year for a lot of other painters, and you've just got this huge job that,
It just keeps, yeah, it's nice. It's nice.
It's good to have a home.
Yeah.
A
That's
place
exactly
where
what it
it's,
is.
so I'm gonna call it a home. So it's a large project.
Yep.
That you can have a bunch of guys working. So he's got other guys working on smaller projects. Now there's hiccups in these smaller projects. Let's say I finished this one, but the drywall's not finished on that one.
Right.
Yep.
There's like this the
A
little
little
gap,
lull. Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yep.
Where you, instead of sitting the guy at home,
Right. You can send them to the
you can send him
apartment
to the
building.
bigger project
Yep.
and have him work for a couple
Toggle.
days. And
I call it toggling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that-
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can toggle them. But, it's hard for those guys to bounce in and out of that type of a setting.
Yes.
So I try to keep those guys separate from
You try.
as much as possible.
Yep.
But I do have the core there, and sometimes something might not be going as quick as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So my number one calls me, hey, you got room for 2-3 guys? What day? Blah blah blah, and that just toggle them in and out.
Right.
I'm not going to bring a new guy onto the project.
Right.
Because they have to.
There's the whole learning experience of
just
who you're talking to,
or-
where
or-
the paint is, how to get in the
Shit,
building,
even how
where
to
to
get
park.
where to park,
I
where to
know.
get in the building. Oh, I know.
Because it's not normal. I mean, you go to these construction sites, especially these larger ones. They've got
You're walking
everything-
around for an hour,
Yeah,
Oh.
chasing your tail. Oh,
yeah.
It's
It's 30 minutes back to your car. So like when
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like a 30-minute
That's-
lunch, that's how you get to your car.
yeah.
Oh
There's
my
30
gosh.
minutes
Oh, you're
going and
waiting
waiting
for
for
the
the
guys up and
construction
down? Oh,
elevator
yeah.
and
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They've got.
We did NASA's the same thing. It was like it's a 2-hour just to get in the building, just to get it signed in, get to the spot. So I mean, you have to factor all this in your bids that you almost know in
Right.
these
That
projects.
there's a lot of downtime.
There's just a lot of
It's-
downtime.
Yeah.
EC airfoils also in Menor.
Yes.
That's like you can get in Fort Knox easier than that place.
Jeez.
Oh yeah, you have to give at the time you had to give your cell phone, your ID. They give you a badge. We're painting offices. We're not like
Right.
covering sensitive,
Right.
government and spraying the walls or the deck.
Right.
Just painting offices, but. Yeah, they don't mess around there
Yeah,
at all.
that's-
You always have to be very careful when you go in some of these places. Kind of take pictures because they'll be like, "This is the top secret lathe, the
Right,
blah blah
right,
blah blah
right.
blah." To make
Right.
So sometimes you can't do your-
P-129 bombers.
Yeah.
And you don't care.
No, right, exactly.
Exactly.
Right, right.
Yeah, you're
I'm a
not paying
painter. Like,
attention.
I'm not
I'm
going
just
to
You're
learn
just
looking
looking
at the
anything.
walls. I don't
Yeah.
care about this stupid thing laying on the ground.
Exactly.
I don't care about that warhead down there.
Right.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
It's
right.
all
You're not paying any attention. Well, Bill, we like to end with something like exciting, maybe something you want to promote. We'll definitely make sure to link to all of your social media sites and your website and all of that stuff in our podcast. But tell us something exciting that you want us to kind of promote about, Bill.
We're on 107.3 Alternative Radio now.
Okay.
We launched that about 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
So we'll see how it goes.
So continuous commercials on
Yeah,
107.
yeah.
What kind of radio? What kind of music?
Alternative.
Is that? Oh, what is alternative even anymore?
Listen to it.
Okay, I will. Because so the first thing that comes to my mind is like Kurt Cobain, because that was alternative
it's some
back in
newer
the day.
stuff. It's pretty
Okay.
decent. Yeah, it's a good, really good radio station. I listened to it, and I couldn't believe how many people I knew listened to it. They're like, you listen? I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, you know what? A lot of people listen to it. My age, my genre,
Yeah.
35 to 50. So yeah, give it a shot. Roll the dice, see what happens.
107.3, and we'll hear
Again,
a
never in a
commercial.
million years would I think I'd be
I
on
know
the
you
radio.
just opened up the epoxy side of your company, doing epoxy
Yes,
flooring for
yes.
garage floors, basements, and such.
Basements, commercial, whatever. We can.
That's always a good niche in the industry.
Yeah.
So you do
And that's
interior
like Cleveland
painting, exterior
floors?
painting, commercial, residential, epoxy floors,
Barns. We do a lot of barn painting.
outside.
Mm-hmm. Interior or exterior barns. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's got to be interesting. I mean, there can't be too many companies that specialize in barn painting.
You know what? There's companies that I'm sure you know of come out of Carolina, the Gypsies, and they just put piss water on the barn.
Right.
It looks good for 6 months and
Yeah.
it washes away.
100%.
So what I want to do is I wanted to legitimatize myself as a company
Yeah,
based out of Medina.
yeah.
That
There's a lot of barns in
you-
Medina.
You can call me next year if something, God forbid, the wood fails or what have you, and I'll pick up the phone. It's not gonna be some burner phone from some guy in North Carolina
Right.
that put half diesel on your
Last
barn.
time I painted a barn, I ended up with poison ivy and poison oak at the same time.
long story short, your barn painting days are gone.
Pretty good on the barns.
I mean, that's important though, because barns are gorgeous, especially in Ohio. You see these barns, and especially ones that are, bright red with the white trim or whatever, and if you don't keep them painted, they rot. I mean,
Oh,
I
yeah.
know I'm from Maine, and we have a bunch of, we're in a rural area, and there's all kinds of rotted barns because, no one's painting them. So, it is important to get a good, paint on your barn.
Yeah, it's just a little niche I saw, so I just
I
made a
like
move
that.
on it.
Can you make that? What's that? The American flag
Oh,
and
and
like
all
the
that stuff.
tobacco
You know,
and
it's
the
chew
all the-
pouch.
yeah. That
You know
one,
what?
we love that.
I actually just bought a house in Medina, and I have a huge barn, and it blows me away how they built it. It's so cool, and we're gonna blast it.
Okay.
We're gonna paint it.
Yep.
And I'm gonna hire somebody to at least do the stand, and I'll do the
Yeah.
paint by number part. That's fine.
Yep.
Put my logo real big. I tried to do it one time, like at night. You're gonna love this one. At my old shop, there's a bank barn. I told the guy, "Hey, I'll paint the barn if you let me put my logo on it." Man, I went out there with my van with a overhead projector with my logo.
What?
And I had ladders and I had picks, and I'm like, you know what? This is not gonna happen. Needless to say, the barn's painted. My logo's not on the stupid thing, but it will be on my new barn.
I mean, maybe you should just get the light with a projector.
tough.
That's
Just
what I tried to do,
Keep
but
it on there.
no, I tried to do.
But
You have to do it at night.
but then
But the there's
shadow
well, I
and
didn't paint the picture well enough.
Yeah.
There's boulders and rocks all over, so I've got a ladder here,
Yeah.
a pit going across here,
And it all interferes.
and then on top of my van I have the projector. After I run the cord out,
Yeah.
and it's got to be dark,
So we've done a
so
lot
by
of
the
these
time I
logos
did
and
it,
stuff.
by the
That's
time I
tough.
did, it was 10 o'clock, and I'm looking, I'm like, this is no.
Even striping when you do the laser level, it's
Yes.
real cool and everything.
yeah.
But if you
But-
have like big picks and ladders or scaffolding or whatever, it's hard to see the line.
Yeah.
It is,
Like, you
especially in the
can't-
daytime. Yeah, right.
and it just goes away,
and
and,
you
you're
keep-
like
yeah.
trying
Well,
to
we gotta do
guess.
something for Bill, because I want to see all these barns in Medina with like a Bill Glick
Well,
painting.
just mine. No,
logo.
just my personal. No, not anybody else's.
I think that would be really cool.
Imagine how many barns you'd paint if you said you did it for free just to get your logo on it.
Oh my gosh, I'd go broke.
We go out of business. Yeah, seriously, it must take a while to paint a barn. They're pretty
It's a
big.
lot of product.
They're
You
a lot of
put, you
paint.
put a ton of
It's a lot of paint. Yeah.
oil-based primer.
Sucks
and
it
then
right
top
up too,
coat.
and just sucks it right
Oh,
up.
it does that because you have to get it to a certain level, or else it's useless.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just
To do
looks
it prop- to
blotchy.
do it- yeah,
Yep.
yeah. You have to
I've
make it
done 'em.
rain. It's ugly.
Yeah, no.
Amen to the barns.
Yeah.
Yep. So barn painting. That's good to know.
That's probably why they didn't get painted for so many years, like
Right.
you're saying,
Yeah.
because it's a ton of product.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's a lot of
yeah.
work. It's a lot of
Or
work.
you
It's
see
a lot
some
of
of the
product.
barns that just are painted like 2/3 the way up.
Yeah, yeah.
And
yeah.
that's as far as you could go with the
Yeah,
work
yeah, with the
extension.
big- yeah.
I love that. So if someone out there needs their barn painted, they should call you. Bill
Absolutely.
Glick
Give us a
Painting.
buzz. Yeah.
Okay, very cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on our podcast. We loved your stories. I'm sure our listeners do too. And if you enjoyed our episode with Bill, then please subscribe and
Please subscribe.
yeah, leave us a review to reach even more listeners. And until next time, remember that every train wreck can be a stepping stone to something extraordinary.
Thanks for
thanks for
having me,
joining
guys.
Bill,
us.
thanks
Been
for
an
coming,
honor,
man.
man.
That was
great.
awesome.
Very much.
great.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
We'll see you next time.